Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, a very, very special warm welcome to you. And please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Now, today we will be looking at the 5 stages of grief. But before we go into that, what is grief? Grief is a natural response to a loss. So, if we lose a loved one, if we lose a job, if we get a divorce, if we fall ill, and especially if that illness becomes a chronic one, we will grieve. If a woman has a miscarriage, wherein she loses that pregnancy, doesn't matter how many children she would have had before, and she now has a miscarriage, she is going to grieve. When we retire, we go through grieving as well, because now we know that we will not go back on the job, and peradventure we were not fully prepared to cope with retirement. If we lose a house, if we lose our car, if there's a death of a pet, we will also grieve. So grieving relates to the loss of just about anything, but especially when we lose a loved one. Now, the grieving process takes time. And there is absolutely no normal way for persons to grieve. Everybody is an individual, and so we grieve differently. For some persons, it may take a short time, while for others, they can go from weeks to months and even into years. So, if you find that you are grieving, do not compare yourself to anyone else. Be patient with yourself, because healing takes time. It happens gradually. So here we go now into the 5 stages of grief. The first is denial. When we have a loss, the first thing is that we feel a sense of shock and we deny that this thing is really happening to us. And so we would say in our minds, this cannot be happening to me. That's the first stage. The next stage is anger, where we question ourselves. Why should this be happening to me? What is it that I have done wrong? What is it that I did not do? So anger comes after denial. The next stage is bargaining, in which we try to agree on something in return for relieving the kind of emotional pain that we are feeling. So we try to bargain it out. The next stage is depression, in which we slowly begin to accept the reality of our situation. Yes, it is really happening, and we are now coming face to face with this reality. The next step is acceptance, in which we no longer resist the reality of our situation. So we come to terms with it and finally say, yes, this is happening to me. We might feel a sense of sadness. We might feel a sense of being, dejected. But we finally say to ourselves that this is true. This is a reality. Now, one thing I did not say at the beginning is that the steps may not necessarily go according to the sequence that I gave to you, but nonetheless, persons will go through the stages, at some point in time. However, we should all remember that grieving is a natural response to whatever loss we have. But let us also remember too that whatever stage of grieving that we find ourselves in, we can always get help. Yes, help is always available. And so in my next video, I will be giving you tips as to how you can get that help, where you can get that help from in order to cope with your loss. So take care of yourselves. And if you find that you are currently grieving, even as you're watching this video, take heart and understand that you are not alone. Many other persons are grieving, but we hope that each person will be able to find their strategy to cope.